My name is Lily Carter, and if anyone had told me a year ago that my life would change because of a single meal, I would have laughed. Back then, I was just a poor waitress trying to survive, balancing trays heavier than my dreams, counting tips that barely covered rent, and forcing smiles for customers who didn't even bother to read my name tag. It was a cold November night when the story really began. The wind outside howled through the cracked diner windows, and my sneakers were damp from running through puddles on my way to work. My shift was the late one, again. By 11 p.m., I had already served more coffee refills than I could count. My feet ached, my back throbbed, and the manager was already yelling about some order mistake that wasn't even mine. I wasn't in the mood for surprises that night. But life, as I'd learned, doesn't care about your plans. The bell above the diner door jingled, and in walked a man who looked like he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. His coat was old and torn, his shoes scuffed, his face hidden behind a scruffy beard. He sat at the far booth, his head low, as if he wanted to disappear. I approached him with the same tired voice I used for everyone. "Coffee." He lifted his eyes slowly. They were weary, but not unkind. "Yes, please. And do you have soup?" "We do. Chicken noodle." He nodded. "Just that, then." Something about the way he said it made my chest tighten. Just that. No sandwich, no side, no pie. Just soup. When I returned with the steaming bowl, he stared at it for a moment like it was more than food, like it was hope. He ate slowly, savoring every bite, as if he hadn't eaten in days. When I slipped the check onto the table, his face fell. He pulled out his wallet, flipped it open, and I saw the truth. A few coins, nothing more. "Sir," I whispered, glancing at the clock. The manager was in the back, thankfully. "Don't worry about it. It's covered." His head snapped up. I can't let you do that." "You can," I said softly, taking the check back. "Consider it on the house." But it wasn't on the house. It was on me, from the tips I hadn't even earned yet. His eyes filled with something I couldn't name. Gratitude, sorrow, disbelief. "Thank you," he said, his voice shaking. "You don't know what this means." I smiled, pretending it was nothing. But inside, I felt a warmth that my thin diner uniform couldn't provide. Morning came far too soon. I rolled out of bed in my tiny apartment, where the wallpaper peeled and the heater clanked more than it worked. Rent was overdue, and I still hadn't paid the electricity bill. I trudged back to the diner, ready for another endless shift. The lunch crowd was busy, and I was running between tables with refills and orders when the bell above the door jingled again. And this time I froze. Walking in wasn't the scruffy stranger from last night. It was a man in a tailored suit, polished shoes, and a presence that made the entire diner pause. He wasn't just wealthy-looking, he was powerful. People glanced at him, whispered, even straightened their posture. He walked directly to the booth where the stranger had sat, and then his eyes found me. "You're Lily Carter?" His voice carried authority, but also warmth. "Why, yes," I stammered, gripping my order pad. He extended his hand. "I'm Daniel Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Enterprises." I nearly dropped my pen. I had heard of him. Everyone had. He was one of the most influential businessmen in the city, practically untouchable. What on earth was he doing in my rundown diner? "I believe you met my brother yesterday," he continued. My mouth went dry. His brother? The man I had fed? Daniel sat down, and I cautiously slid into the opposite booth. "My brother, Adam, has struggled," Daniel explained. "He disappeared years ago, refusing help, living on the streets. I've been searching for him, worried sick. He told me what you did for him last night." I blinked, stunned. "He told you?" Daniel nodded. "You didn't know who he was. You didn't do it for recognition. You just showed kindness." I felt my cheeks warm. It was just a bowl of soup. To you, maybe. But to him, it was dignity. Hope. A reminder that there are still good people. For the first time in years, tears burned my eyes at work. I blinked them back quickly, not wanting my manager to yell at me again. Daniel leaned forward. "I'd like to offer you something, Miss Carter. You've given my family back a piece of hope I thought was lost. Let me return the favor." I shook my head instantly. "I don't need anything." He smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but you deserve something." That afternoon, Daniel handed me his business card. "Come by my office tomorrow. We'll talk." The next day, still half convinced it was a dream, I went. His office tower rose high into the sky, a place I never imagined stepping foot in. Security guards waved me through once I showed the card. Inside, Daniel introduced me to his staff. "This is Lily Carter," he said firmly, as though I was someone important. "She'll be joining us." "Joining?" I whispered. He smiled. "Yes, as a personal assistant, if you'd like. I can't think of anyone more trustworthy. The hours will be better. The pay, well, it will cover more than soup." I gasped. "Mr. Whitmore, call me Daniel, and say yes, please." For the first time in forever, I felt like someone believed in me. Not for what I could carry on a tray, not for the fake smiles I gave customers, but for who I was. I said yes. Weeks turned into months. My life transformed. I had a stable job, enough money to pay bills, even a little to save. Adam, Daniel's brother, slowly rebuilt his life too, thanks to his family's support, and perhaps, in a small way, thanks to that one bowl of soup. One evening, I returned to the diner, not as a waitress, but as a customer. I sat in the same booth where Adam once did. When a young waitress approached, looking just as tired as I once was, I smiled and handed her a tip larger than the bill itself. "Why?" she whispered, stunned. I smiled softly. "Because sometimes one small kindness can change everything." And I knew that was true, because it had changed mine.